Hello, good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's well. Hey, LaShawn, and hi, everyone. ASMR Dobby says, Nick, I hope it doesn't.
Good evening,
Oops, I've got the
everyone.
sound
I
on.
hope everyone's well.
Hey, says Nick, I hope it doesn't snow tomorrow and bring London to a standstill. It's pretty nasty weather outside at the moment. Lucky I don't have to go into London tomorrow. But yeah, I hope it doesn't. I hope it doesn't snow as well. Okay. David Corden says, yes, please do Monero. Yes, I've got it on the list. If you take a look under this, we've got the list that we're going in order. And Stressful Struggle, hi Nick, miss you, hi. I hope everybody had a nice holiday. We were pretty stable in Bitcoin and stuff over the holiday. Chris says there seems to be a pivot around here for possible turn of trend. There is, and we are at that kind of pivot level in quite a lot of markets. And Chris also says, do I ever use time-based fibs? We seem to be around the same length as the 2018 bear. I do, and actually, I'm going to zoom out here. One of my favourite use of them, let's go to the weekly chart. Okay, one of my favourite use of them, I'm going to go into log scale. Let me take these fibs off here. One of the things that I really liked about this bottom that we made down here back in January 2019 was that when we did this, in terms of days, this was equal on the 29th of January, which was when we made the low of last year. The correction was equal to the entire 2013-2014 correction. So that was a really good spot to find a low. So for me, this was an important low. We are just looking at a pullback and then we're looking to start another leg higher. So that's kind of how I feel about Bitcoin. It's just a matter of where. Are we going to hold it here at this weekly 50 moving average? Or are you going to come all the way down to the 786 and that 54 area and, bounce from the weekly 200 again? I don't know, but I'm kind of hopeful. Somebody asked for Voyager BQX, and I'm sorry I forgot to put it on the list, but I will do BQX for sure. It's quite a nice chart. We will take a look at it. Definitely, don't worry. We'll stick BQX in. So in terms of corrections, so we made a low in December. I actually think that we were owed one more leg, but fifth waves very often fail. And I think that that's what we saw here. We should have made a new low in January and we didn't. So they're saying that where are we in terms of this length of correction compared to this one? Well, let's take a look. So trend based fib time. We're going to go from this high to this low. We're going to project it from this high and see where we are. And maybe we're at the 50, but let's put the 50% in. It's not showing at the moment. Now that's quite interesting because it says that the low that we made 3-4 weeks ago, which was the low, was at the 50% of this correction. So that would be quite cool, wouldn't it? 50% in terms of this one. Now, let's go down to the daily and redo it and make sure we've got it all lined up better. Here like this. So yeah, for me, that is quite an interesting thing that we are at this 50% of the big bear. And so hopefully we could turn higher from here. So let's take all that off and look at where we are with Bitcoin. From this low to the high, we are fighting over this 61.8 fib level. 61.8 fib levels are very often messy. That means that you can go beyond them, close underneath them, close the wrong side of them, but you still come back and recover them. And I think I'm hoping. And 38.2 fibs are very similar. And we saw this here, but we still bounce from this level. So that's what I'm hoping here. Now, this time, we've closed above the daily 50 moving average. Very often when you do that, you should see some continued upside. So I'm really hoping that we break out of this horizontal trend line resistance. It's not quite horizontal. The thing is with trend lines, if it's a valid trend line, the third time you touch it, you should see a false break followed by a reaction to stay inside. And so I am expecting a bit of a pullback here before we actually break out. And that would validate this trend line. If we just smash straight through it with only 2 touches of a trend line, it wouldn't actually be a valid trend line. And then we would be looking at the horizontal resistance here for our breakout, which is around 78.70. That's going to be where we reverse the daily trend. Where am I looking for on a breakout or continuation higher here in Bitcoin? I'm looking for 8,500. And the reason for that is that when you bounce from a 61.8 fib, well, first of all, whenever you get above your daily moving averages, the 20 and the 50, you're looking for the 200. Sometimes I don't always use it, but sometimes we just go back to the 100. So I'm going to put in a simple 100 moving average here. And let's see where that is. Because sometimes that kind of lines up. Oh, look, that's a little bit higher. In fact, that lines up with our horizontal resistance, doesn't it? So the 100 moving average. And if we look at the last rally attempt, the 100 simple moving average is what capped us and stopped us getting any higher. So I think we can say quite categorically then above 7,800, 7,900, we'll have a nice breakout in Bitcoin and we will have reversed the trend. So if you're buying it ahead of there, that's where we're looking for our first kind of major trouble in Bitcoin. And then we're looking for 8,500, which is the fib level. But really we're looking for a breakout in the 200 moving average and then carry on higher from here. When you reverse to the 61.8 fib level, the 50% in the middle very often acts as a kind of pivot level. It's at 8,515 here at Bitstamp. And if you get above it, you go to the 38.2 next, which is at 9,792. Remember though, look how messy we've been at this 61.8 level, and this 38 fib level is just underneath that big 10,000. So that's also a messy level. So I would say from here we're looking for 8,500, and then above 8,500 we're looking for a test of 10,000, which would be very nice, wouldn't it? And then above 10,500, we might see some profit taking, a big inverted head and shoulders pattern, something like that. I hope not. I hope we don't come out that far. But, you know, markets don't move in a straight line. I hope it's more shallow, you know, something like up to here, a retest of the 50. But the way that it happens when you're in between a 618 and 38.2, it's very often you come back to that 50% in the middle. So I would not be at all surprised to see that move. But I am quite optimistic. I'm probably more optimistic than I should be because we haven't actually broken out and we are just going sideways, and we could fail. We could fail again at this 100 moving average and then just, you know, see another leg lower. I hope not. I really hope not. But hope isn't a trading strategy. So we're just going to go level from level for now and see how we go. Optimistic, especially because so many of these alts look quite good. Now, in previous rallies, what we've seen is Bitcoin have a big move and the good feelings spread out into the big, you know, kind of original gangster or the larger cap altcoins first. And that's what we're seeing. So what we're seeing, God, really nice move, for example, in Monero. Now, what's happened before also is Litecoin has usually led the way. Litecoin closing above this daily 50 moving average at a new high is a really positive sign. Litecoin is leading the way. Litecoin bounced off the bottom before anything else did. Now, if we're going to fail in Litecoin, I'm going to zoom out. Just like Bitcoin, if we take our fibs from the December 2018 lows, we're bouncing from an 886 fib level. A simple rule is whatever fib retrace level you bounce from, when you rally, the one above that you broke down below is usually going to be resistance. And so in this case, that means the 786 fib here in Litecoin US dollar. 48.72. So our first target is 48.72, and then if we get above that, our second target is going to be the 200 moving average. But a simple fib rule for me is when you reverse at an 886 fib, your target is the 50%. So I see us going beyond this 200 moving average to 84.12. That's our first proper target. If, it's a big if, we can get above 48.72. If we can't get above 48.72, I'm afraid we stay in a downtrend, and this is just a bounce in a downtrend. Another good way to look for a target is an equal measured move. So I'm doing that here. 46.96, we might not get as far as that level. We might get stalled at 46.96 and see some profit taking there. So be a little bit careful of that. This tool that I'm using, if you haven't seen it before, here, it's called a trend-based fib extension. I've customized it for color, that's all, and taken away the background, and it's really simple to measure swings. Okay. Hello, Eric. Atom's already on the list, but we'll see if we can have time for BAT, TRX, and EOS, because I think actually they look quite good too to follow on. Certainly TRX and EOS has potential. Okay, so now where is our support if we're going to keep looking to keep going higher? I think, you know, when you have a big day like this with very small tails, top and bottom, it's called a Marubosu day, and in Japanese candlesticks, 50% of the open close of this candle is where we should have support. But I'm going to say more likely we shouldn't close back below this daily 50, and that's at 44.27. So in Litecoin US dollar, 44.27 is our support for a pullback, and 48.72 is where we're looking for a target to. So here on the hourly, when we've got our sideways consolidation, remember corrections are normally at least 3 waves. So we've had 1, 2, we should look for a third wave, and then before we carry on higher. So not below 48.72. What did we say? 40. Yeah, and then carry on higher. A good way not to miss the move. You really want to buy it when it's going up, not when it's kind of waffling around going sideways here, is, you know, maybe put an alert above the highs. If they break the highs, you'll get an alarm or something like that in Litecoin. So Litecoin looking really good. The close above the daily 50 is really key and looks good for higher from here. Same with Ethereum. Now, I can't get over that recovery in Monero. Now in Ethereum, I'm going to go out to the weekly chart, because I haven't been too inspired. You know, I couldn't find the fib levels that I liked here. And let me take this away. And, you know, this was pretty solidly in a downtrend, and I couldn't find a level when I marked from the December lows like everything else. I couldn't find a level that we were bouncing off in ETH US dollar the way we've just seen in Litecoin or, for example, Bitcoin. And so it has to do something really spectacular to change the trend to make me think we really are going higher here in ETH. These candlesticks have been quite bullish, you know, these really long tails, and then 2 weekly dojis. We were kind of setting up for a really strong move higher. And I think we've seen it today. We've broken out of this sideways range that we were in. Here was our sideways range. We kept capping and we couldn't close above. Yesterday we had a good look above it and closed back underneath, and today we've exploded. But in terms of daily moving averages and resistance, we're still stuck at the daily 50. We really do need to close above this to see some continued upside. If we count this as our most recent swing lower, this is a 61.8 level here. I'm going to take this line away, hide these moving averages for a minute. And so remember, 61.8 level, if you reverse here, the 50% in the middle is a pivot. If you drop below that, we just talked about this with Bitcoin, if you drop below that, you will drop back to the 38.2 in the kind of a golden ratio zone move. So this is where ideal support is, but we might come down to 132 if we see a bigger correction here. I really hope not. I'm feeling really positive about all this, but that's what to watch out for. So watch out for 137.36 to be support on pullbacks in ETH US dollar. is it worth, for every coin that you look at against the US dollar, I think you should look at it against Bitcoin as well. Because they can look really good, some of these US dollar charts, but they need to be going up against Bitcoin for you to spend your Bitcoin buying them. They need to be outperforming. Clearly, Ethereum Bitcoin is at the moment, and in fact it has been for, about 10 days. Is this the start of a new uptrend for ETH Bitcoin? This is one of those corrections where we've made an exact equal measured move. So this kind of gets me quite excited that yes, this could be. So this will be our first leg higher, ABC correction, and our next leg higher underway. And so, yeah, I do think actually that it is worth spending some of your Bitcoin on Ethereum. I think Ethereum is set up to outperform, and so it's worth diversifying into it. Okay, that's Ethereum. BSV, now hasn't this been amazing? Amazing rally in Bitcoin Cash SV. All of these, Bitcoin Cash, BCH has a halving coming up in April. Bitcoin and BSV have halvings coming up in May. I'm not sure what of a driver this is going to be, but when I look at this weekly chart and I put regular candles on, and I look at from this high to low at the 236 fib level here at 111.49, and these bunched up weekly moving averages, this is a really strong move back above these weekly moving averages. We should at least see, if we measure this first leg, we should at least see a rally to 61.8 of this first leg. But if not, I think a big ABC that will take us from here to the 50% level of this high to low. So I'm really looking big picture for 161. We're at 117. That's almost a 50. It's not quite a 50%, but it's not far off a 50% move. That's a really nice move for BSV. This is a really nice breakout. So where's our resistance going to come, and where are we going to look for pullbacks? Well, we've broken above this big level today. It was a bit of a stall yesterday. It is a big deal of a support and resistance level if we look left. And so a pullback to 111 would be pretty cool if we got one. Again, we're in a bit of a correction. Most corrections, sometimes they're sideways and you'll get three waves, and sometimes they'll look like an ABC, but you usually get 1, 2, 3 waves of correction. Just the scale of them varies, and it looks to me like we've only had one leg lower. So this is another one where I think we're going to see A, B, C, and then rally. And so I'd be stalking a long entry in BSV for a lot of reasons. Well, even if you think that this coin will never succeed in a long, in the long term, and it's a shit coin, we're not marrying it, and we're not going to hold it and keep it forever. We're just going to trade it, and I think it's got a lot of upside potential. Martin says, I see that as an ABC and now we're in C. So correction upwards. Okay, thank you. I think you're talking about Bitcoin, but thank you, Martin. I will look at that at the end. Thank you very much. Okay, so BSV, I think, has a lot of potential to the upside against the dollar. How, though, are we doing against Bitcoin? Because that's the most important thing. If it's not going to do any better than Bitcoin, why would you buy any BSV? And I actually think that this looks fantastic to do better than Bitcoin. Even if this is just 5 waves down and a big ABC, here we are. We've gotten above all of our bunched up daily moving averages. We need to get rid of this. Really strong move. We've gotten above the 236 fib and found support from it. It's a bit messy, but we've had this big ABC correction. And I think that we're all set for our next leg higher in BSV against Bitcoin. Now, if we measure, in this one, I need to put the 61.8 in, because that's going to be our first target. So if all we do is make a marginal new high, and this second swing is 61.8 of the first swing, then our first target will be 0.01703. If we make a bigger equal measured move, we will come up here to this bigger trend line. Now, the equal measured move is 0.0204. doesn't line up with any of these fibs. When that happens, it usually means that everyone's looking at a different fib. I'm going to move it up, unlock it even. There we go. And let's try this, or from here. Because very often when you get an ABC, you should put the fibs on both legs. So if we do that, they kind of line up a little bit better. Still not brilliant, isn't it? But so in BSV, 0.17 and this high is still going to be a bit potentially our first trouble level. So that would be my first target on this breakout, 0.017. Now take that away. If we look at this, this is a breakout obviously and a back above this fib, but our first trouble level is going to be previous high and then that 1.618. So looks good for higher, but it's not. So far we've got, if you think of a trends as really simple, an uptrend is higher highs and higher lows. We've got our higher high, we've taken out this swing high, we've got our higher low. Now we need this next higher high, and then we've got ourselves a proper uptrend. So BSV, Bitcoin looking good, and I would call this support back here at 0.0148. That's where I would be looking for it to hold. I'll be stalking it on an hourly, and again, like everything else, look for 3 waves back to 0.014828, and that would be, it might not even come back that far. It's been very squeezy, this one. It might not come back that far. And then I think it's a great buy. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Monero, which the last 2 days has been on fire. There's been a lot of chat, hasn't there, about privacy coins. But ever since this one made a high low, it's been on a ripper. The resistance in this, we're above the, straight through the 200-day moving average today like it was butter. At least we stopped for a pause and an inside day at the 50 moving average. But we're absolutely flying in this. The problem is that this wasn't really a double bottom. It wasn't even a swing failure pattern. It was a higher low. And so for me, that kind of always makes me a little bit nervous that this is just going to be a kind of ABC correction. So for me, I'm going to measure where that might put us to, up here at 78.69. So I'd really like to see it beyond 78.69. I'd really like to see, first of all, new highs, and then beyond 78.69. But this close today, this strong close above the 200 moving average, means that we might get a pullback to retest this level to buy it. The 200 moving average is at 7397. So 7397. If we did one of those funky irregular corrections here, I think everything needs a second leg low, by the way, then that's where I'd be looking for us to hold above and then carry on higher. If we don't, I'm wrong. Obviously, if Monero, which is going to keep flying, if it makes a new high, but it looks a little bit toppy here just now, doesn't it? Hasn't quite reversed yet. If I put my Heikenhashi on, it hasn't quite, but yeah, looking a little bit toppy. So A, B, C, and then this would be a buy and should turn up higher again and hold above the 200 moving average in Monero. I think it looks fantastic. Got a good chance anyway. Now ADA, I've been really dismissive about ADA. So that was, listen, that was Monero against Bitcoin. This is definitely outperforming Bitcoin. If you look at it on a US dollar chart, then it's absolutely flying. Let's go to the daily chart of Monero against the US dollar. These fibs didn't quite work. You know, we kind of went beyond this 886, which we shouldn't have done, but now we're back above this 786, you know, which is the one above us. So all looking good. I'm actually going to take these and say, you know, don't like doing them this way. We'll take them. We'll put our fib retracers this way from the highs, and we'll say, you know, this 236 should be support and resistance. So our first expected trouble is going to come here at 62.388. 62.388, therefore, will be our first trouble level. And hopefully above that, back to the 200 moving average, 38.2, 50% back, and so on. It's like climbing a stairs. You know, you get through one resistance and pull back, and then you work your way through the next resistance, and so on. So, yeah, Monero US dollar, the last week has just been on fire. Hi, Sarah. Oh, Sarah, I'll go back, and I didn't see, I only saw on the list BSV Bitcoin. Didn't get put on the list I was given. So I'll give you BSV US dollar tether. We'll go back and do it. Gonna blame my secretary. Here we go. Okay, if we look at BSV US dollar tether, I know I'm really bullish BSV Bitcoin. If we look at this, here we are, kind of one of those key levels where we might see some profit taking. I don't think we will. All of the moving averages are pointing to us going higher, to this 61.8 retrace in the 200 moving average next, and that's at 125. But this 50% level in the middle saw a little bit of a pause yesterday, so we're going sideways at this. No reversal yet. Like, we're still solidly in an uptrend. And I think even if I go down like this, we may even have seen our three legs below anyway, but there we go. So potentially we could see a bigger correction here. We're not going to be quite out of the woods until we get a daily close above this 50% level, which is at 115.77, but it looks good for it to keep going higher tonight. So I would say good luck. And 125 next. Big picture though, if we take that away and we'll measure for this again, we'll do the measured moves. If we do a second leg that's only 61.8 of the first leg, this actually says 134 beyond this 200 moving average, and then big equal measure move even higher at 170. So looking good, I think. Looking good. So this is where we'll see our probably next bigger problem, and that's at the 200 moving average and that 61.8 level. So I might even put a little order to take some profit there. I wouldn't take it all off, but I would take a little off and wait for a pullback to buy it back again. Okay, I'm going to carry on and move forward. We've looked at Monero. I'm going to look at ADA. Perhaps I shouldn't look at the comments. I'm going out of order now. I've been a bit dismissive of ADA. One of the reasons was I thought, yeah, if we look at the dollar, ADA dollar, like this, from that December low that we've been measuring fibs and everything else from, we dropped underneath this 886 fib level, and I kind of written it off and said, you know, we're probably going to retest the lows and it's not looking very good. You know, we're stuck in the downtrend. And that level that we broke underneath here at 34,822 was resistance for pretty much, since the 17th of December, every time we tried to rally. Now we've popped above it on the daily. We're looking really good, really strong, and a big close above the 50. So I'm going to say we've probably recovered this level. And because these fibs going this way are not that reliable, just like we just did, I'm going to move them around to the other way. Oh, come on. What new? There we go. Okay. And when we do this, ta-da, when we look at our first fib level, the 236 retrace and the 200 moving average, they're all lining up at the same place. So close and hold above the 50 moving average give us a really nice upside target at 0.048473 in ADA US dollar. So if you're holding ADA, I think we're just starting this journey, and a close above that 50 moving average today will be it, and we shouldn't close back underneath it if we're going to keep going higher. So see here, we closed back and above the daily 50 and then we dropped again. That, you know, you can do this with quite a tight stop. What you want to see is you get above it and you hold above it and you keep going, and you usually see quite a big move. So if we mark where that 50 moving average is, it's at 36,210, 36,210. So that's ADA US dollar. So looking really good to go high. Now, would you want to spend your hard-earned Bitcoin on ADA? You do need to make sure it's going up against Bitcoin, and it is. It's been pretty slow, and it's not really a trend yet. In fact, you know, we're still kind of sideways in a sideways range here with ADA. I'm just going to get rid of this alarm. Oops, I've instead got rid of the moving average. This is not what I wanted to do. There we go. So close above this 20 moving average, big strong close. This does point to a higher low. This is starting to look like, you know, we've done our ABC correction and a new swing higher, but with all these moving averages kind of flat and doing nothing, we kind of need to break out of this sideways range. We've got a triple bottom here and a double top, almost actually it's a triple top up here. So we're going to look for the, I have to say, I'm always nervous buying something in the middle of a range. But in this case, with this break above the 20 moving average today, we can say we're probably looking all right as long as we hold above it. So far, so good. And we'll look for a retest of the top of the range from here. Normally, when you've got a sideways range like this, with a triple top, triple bottom, you're always going to try and buy the bottom and sell the top until we break out. That's kind of the general rule. But yeah, it is looking pretty nice and strong in ADA for a turnaround. So yeah, I would risk some of my hard-earned Bitcoin on ADA because it's outperforming Bitcoin, as quite a lot of them are. Ripple, oh my god, what happened to Ripple today? Ripple does this, you know, it'll go sideways. It's like a little sleeper. It's so quiet that everybody ignores it and says, oh, forget Ripple, and then it'll just take off, which it did today. Whenever we've had a really big move day like today, the most common candlestick that you see after a big move like this is an inside day. So the perfect ideal candle here would be a pullback inside day that comes back to this support, triple bottom support level and retests it. It's at 0.21262 Ripple US dollar. So that's where our support should be. And so that's where I would be looking for a pullback to. Nice little pullback like this, and then up again higher. So if you haven't bought any Ripple, buying it at the top of a massive green day like this without a kind of breather or a pullback isn't a great strategy. It's going to take a day or two to give you a pullback entry, but that's what, it might only be a day, but that's what I'd be looking for. So 0.21262 support for Ripple US dollar. Again, don't risk your hard-earned Bitcoin unless it's actually outperforming Bitcoin, and boom, it is massively outperforming Bitcoin as well. And pulled back and retested a really nice level. If I zoom out to the weekly here in Ripple Bitcoin, this was a big, you know, from the lows to highs, this was a big 886 fib level that we really needed to hold on this retest, because the trade for us was between the 786 and the 50. So our first target is back to this level here at 4917 Ripple Bitcoin on the weekly. And then we've got the big swing if we can get above that level, 4917. But short term, that's where we're going to be looking for, 4917. Now, Ripple Bitcoin, not quite out of trouble. There are lots of people who will draw a trend line and say, oh yeah, this is it, we've broken out. But I've only got 2 touches, so I'm not going to use that trend line. I'm going to say that the key resistance for Ripple is going to be this previous high here. We've got, this is what reverse it. First, well, we've got all of these lows here, haven't we? So we've got a really tough support and resistance level here. If we draw the line where we catch as many of them as we can, it's kind of around here, and this 200 moving average. So 3,000, and where the 200 moving average is, which is at 3,024, That's the really tough resistance. But if you get above that, we can say that we've made a bottom. What we might see, especially because it's such a tough level and nothing goes sideways like Ripple, is we might see that we get up here and then we do this, you know, we go sideways and everybody goes, oh, give up on Ripple, give up on Ripple. And then boom, it'll go. Hi, Chris. Yeah, I have got some good books on fibs. Yeah. And videos as well. Connie Brown has a really good, Constance Brown has a really good book about fibs. The Fibonacci Queen. If you watch her videos, you'll learn so much about confluence. And she just draws fibs and fibs and fibs. So she'll draw fibs, you know, big fibs this way, small fibs this way. She'll put another fib this way. She'll look for, and then she'll do projections, measure all of the swings, and she'll look for where everything lines up together for confluence. I learned so much from her as well. So, but all of those resources, yeah, they're in my group. Come for a month, learn it all, and then leave. No, I didn't mean that. I was joking. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, we've had a really good day in Ripple now. Where might the support be? First of all, it's going to be at this daily 50 moving average. But I think it's important to draw in where that 236 fib is, because that's very often our touchstone support and resistance, isn't it? 28.52. I would say that's going to be more likely. 28.52. If we do see a pullback here further. So good luck. But yeah, this is one big monster candle. Most traders, like if you were a trader who traded daily candles, okay, you would, if you wanted to buy a break higher from this, you can't put your stop under here. You're going to be praying for a pullback or a couple of inside bars that will give you a higher stop for this. Okay. V-chain we're going to look at next. V-chain. I can't remember who asked me for this. It was somebody on Twitter. And in terms of where I would be looking for in V-chain for a pullback to buy, you know, after we bounced off our first target, this 50% level is a massive support, and we've kind of held it really well. But the problem is, I think that we're in a bigger correction. So we've kind of done an ABC down, and then 50% is very often a level that you see in corrections. And what I think we might do after this big 5 waves up is we might do a bigger correction. So this is something like that. And then we go. I tell you why, just kind of this bearish cross of these daily moving averages, everything flattens out, points to a bit of a sideways range. So I'm not that inspired to buy V-chain against Bitcoin at the moment. Now, does that mean that if you're holding some V-chain that's really bad news? It's not really bad news at all, because, you know, if you're going sideways against Bitcoin and Bitcoin is going up, then you're not losing money. It's going up in value, but it's not really worth being in V-chain over Bitcoin, that's all. So I would say above this, out of this sideways range and above 86, we are in our next swing higher in V-chain, and I would leave this one on the back burner to make a base. I'd like to see either a double bottom here or yeah, something like that, or a breakout of the top of this range. Against Bitcoin, it wouldn't tempt me in unless I was already holding some. If you're already holding some, there's no reason to get out. Now, V-chain US dollar might look a whole lot better because, you know, that was against Bitcoin. But I'm going to say, look, we're still jumbled up, you know. If we look at it on a weekly, maybe we get a better view. Dead flat weekly moving averages, the 20 and the 50 in the same place. That just says, unfortunately, sideways range consolidation. So yeah, let it make a move. Let it make a move and say, you know, we're on our way. Like, I like how we're holding this 200 moving average, and maybe we're getting ready, but it's just not quite. I'd much rather let it make a big move and then buy a pullback rather than sit in a coin that's doing nothing while everything else is going up, you know. It's kind of frustrating. There's more data on VET on Binance, okay. Same thing though, here's VET, VeChain here. I do think we've done an ABC correction in VeChain. In all of the charts that you look at, here's the same deal, ABC. This is a very nice equal measured move as well, if you measure it. Perfect. And hopefully this is the first leg, but you know, these moving averages are the wrong way round. Everything's flat. Maybe it is getting ready for the big move, but I would not buy it here. I don't know. I can't quite. I would buy it if we broke out of these highs and on a pullback or something like that. I just don't feel like it's ready. Now, if we went a little bit lower, made a double bottom, again, something like that, I might. If you've already got VeChain, no reason not to. If we broke here above this daily 50, happy days, I'd buy a pullback here, and this would be my entry. And yeah, would I be buying a higher price than you? I would, but I'd be buying it when it's going up. And at the moment, I would rather do that than sit in it while it went nowhere, or not very fast. So, VeChain, I think it'll go, but it's not quite there yet. Now, MCO is a tricky one. When you look at this chart, you think, oh, this should all be all ready to go, isn't it? Lovely rally, pull back to the daily moving averages, everything's fine. The problem is that I think I can count at least a big ABC here, if not 5 waves, and corrections should be 3 waves. When I look at this rally, I think, God, you know, the CSI, this is already up quite high. So as a daily, it's got a great look, but what if this is just the first leg of correction, then we're going to do this and then another leg? I don't really want to buy it yet. So I'm going to look for, in this case, a lower time frame entry. So if I go down to the 4 hour and I see what's going on here, I think this has just made a big ABC correction. So this is our first leg down. Remember, 3 waves. So this is our first leg of correction, second leg rally. We're going to see another leg lower or retest the lows or something like that. And so although MCO is very encouraging, not quite, again, this is another one, not quite ready. So if I measure from this high to low, protector from here, I'm looking for a retest of the lows here to hold. 53.19, and if it doesn't, a bigger pullback to 5,000, 4,996 actually. So MCO, big picture, do I like it? I love it. Against Bitcoin, we're trading above the 200-day moving average. We've made a huge bounce off the lows. Everything looks good, but I just think we need a bigger correction before we can buy it back again. Okay? Ripples at the Ripple. God. Okay. So, MCO. I do like it, but watch for a retest of the lows and another swing lower before you can buy this one, I think. I could be wrong. Obviously, if it breaks the highs. Listen. So, I've done this ABC correction like this. Wrong button. ABC, okay? Here, that was a complete equal measure move. Now, a reversal and an equal measure move, to confirm the reversal, has to drop below the 236 fib. So that's here at 5715. Okay, so that would confirm our ABC pattern reversal. So if you were looking for a short entry, you'd be looking below 5715 for a retest of the lows in MCO. So If we pull back here and we find support here and then just carry on higher, then that's obviously not an ABC reversal. So below 5,700 confirms the reversal for me, and I'd be looking for a retest of the lows in MCO before I was to buy it again. Oh, and I missed out ZRX. That's unfortunate because ZRX is a good one. Thank you. Got out of order with the BSV tether thing. Now, ZRX Bitcoin. Remember, we always, if we look at ZRX dollar, we're going to see a very nice chart, I think, just already to turn up again. Here's ZRX. Very nice base, slightly higher low. Here's a nice wedge. We've closed above the 20 moving average. Everything looks all set, doesn't it, for a ZRX breakout? So what we really want to know is, does it look better or is it outperforming? Is it outperforming? I'm going to put my fibs on from this low to high. Is it outperforming Bitcoin? So we've bounced from an 886 fib. We're back above the 786 fib. Everything points to higher. And this 50% level and the 200 moving average. So I'm looking for 0.24672 ZRX US dollar next. And then above there, happy days. So all we need to make sure is ZRX is going up against Bitcoin. And then it's a great trade. And it is, or it's trying to. But at the moment, we've got a lot of overhead resistance. If we draw our fibs from this low in September to the high here, we're sitting at the 61.8 level that we broke underneath, 25.72. Not only that, but we've got the daily 200 moving average above us. So we've got a lot of resistance. We've got a lot of support because we've sat on it for, 2 weeks. But a lot of resistance that we've got to break above if we want to buy it. So ZRX, sideways range. Our confirmation that we've reversed and we're going higher is above 2,700 and this high here. And let's somebody else do the work pushing it through those moving averages. I would wait until, honestly, we broke out just in case. But if you really wanted to, then see this 61.8 level on this 4 hour. You can see how clearly it's support, resistance, 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 resistance. And today we just peaked above it. In fact, if we go down to a 15-minute, you can see we're peaking above it here. Look, resistance, but now we're above it. If we can find support here and rally away from here, that would be pretty nice. That would be a very nice sort of early warning that we're going back to the top of the range. So keep an eye on it. And that 61.8 level that we need to get back above at 25.77. Put a stop underneath it. Now, I wouldn't honestly, don't go all in this Bitcoin, in this ZRX, sorry. It's still got to get through the daily 200 moving average and the daily 20 moving average. It's not a sure thing, guaranteed reversal. But I think you could put your toe in the water if we can hold above that level and then add to your position if we make a new high. Okay, so I've done that one, Have I done MCO? Yes. Done MCO. Algorand. Now, so the big question in Algorand is, after a big pullback, are we turning higher again? Whenever, as you know, everybody knows I'm a big fan of moving averages. I use a 20 and a 50 moving average, which we've got here. And what I find is when you rally and the moving averages are very often the wrong way around, what you tend to see is that's when you see the double bottom or the retest of the lows. Because the first time you try, you kind of just can't get through the moving averages that are the wrong way around. And so that's when it's worth being patient and letting it make a base. If we are done going down here in Algorand, then we should make a pretty decent base. If I measure from the lows, or from this low at least, 50%, we're kind of underneath the 50% as well. So in terms of retrace levels, it's not 61.8, okay. But let's do it like that. Right. That makes it easier. Now, if we measure our fibs from the lows, we've bounced from the 61.8 fib level. So if we are going to go higher here, remember how that 50% level in the middle acts as a pivot? That's the level we've got to get above, 3286. And then we've got a reversal then our target becomes 3566, so 38.2, because we're in that golden ratio zone between the 61.8 and the 38.2. This is this zone here. Okay, and this is the pivot level in the middle. And look at what an important pivot level 3286 is. Highs, 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 lows here, highs here. So 3286 is what you want to see us hold above, and then I think Algorand Bitcoin will be a buy and it will be outperforming it. So you can buy it before then. You could buy a little pullback here if you wanted to, but that's your key level, 3286. If it doesn't get above there, or if it reverses there, that's your exit in Algo. So yeah, I think it has a good chance to have a swing and outperform Bitcoin, but that's what I would be looking for. Okay, so Algorand. Next one we're going to look at is XTZ. This is another one sitting on a really good level. So from the whole rally of this whole big swing here, this is the 50% back. But am I a big fan of this against Bitcoin XTZ? I think we're in this big wedge. Now, when I look at this swing here, patterns repeat, you know. So from this high to this low, the high was the 886. From this high to this low, this high was the 886. I think that we could be doing a big A, B, C, D, E, which means we're headed down here. But what if you're in XTZ or long already? Where might we go on this bounce? If we bounce from a 50% level, there's a very simple rule. If you markets that do mean reversion tend to keep mean reversing or reversing to mean. So if you bounce from a 50% level, your target's always going to be 50% back. So if we bounce from here, we're looking for 50%, which would mean 21,050 is our target. And then I think that that's likely. We rally there and down. How will we confirm that we're going up there so that, you know, the confirmation would be above the 236 fib, which is here where the daily 20 is. So the meat in your sandwich in this trade is between these two. And the resistance on this rally is at 18,700. So if you're long and we rally and fail at 18,700, that's your exit. And if we get above 18,700, there's your long trade from here to 21,050, because it's a 50%. That's what we tend to do. So then when we fall here, you'll expect it to come back 50%, and then we'll just keep doing that pattern until it breaks one way or another. That's kind of tends to be what happens. Okay. So XTZ Bitcoin, yes. Nice price action, nice 3-day reversal candlesticks here. This does point to higher prices. Watch for 18,700 next in XTZ Bitcoin. Okay, next one we're going to look at is Link. I'm such a big Link fan. Okay, so in Link, well, I think we're in, you know, to be honest, I think we're in a big fat, after a lovely rally, I think we're in a big fat ABC. And I've been looking at this big swing and think if we fell 61.8 of this swing, we've still got further to go, and it's going to bring us back to around 2,200. So that's why I've got this green level marked. However, what if we just fall in this 50%, and I'll change this, not 60, then that's kind of where we are. And we're also at the 200 moving average as well, or kind of lurking around the 200 moving average. We've fallen underneath it. Now we need to see if we can get back above it. And if we can, then I think that we've got a chance to go higher. If we can't, I can't really find any other reason to want to be long Link against Bitcoin. I don't think it's set to outperform. It might just be having a bounce here, but I don't see it outperforming Bitcoin, unfortunately. So, you know, I put my fibs on every which way. If we do this, we can say 886 comes back to the 50. We've done that. You know, yeah, I like how we found support. This is potentially a level that we could rally from, but unless we can, you know, let's look at it. This today high right now where we are is the 200 moving average, okay? So we know that, and today's highs in this. So unless, you know, we can start moving a little beyond that, then I think the risk is that we go a little bit lower. So I'm just holding my breath, and I would like to see a little bit more. So a break out of this sideways. We see these hourly moving average, 4-hour moving average dead flat. So if we got above the 200 moving average, I would buy the next dip against it, and happy days. So not quite a reversal yet in chain link. So let's go back to the daily and say, well, where might we go from here? These big fibs, you know, from the high in July to the low here in September have been really well respected. We've gone from an 886 to the 38.2. So I'm going to say back to these highs would be our first port of call, probably. 27,139, back to this low. That would be a good first target, wouldn't it? Okay. Another way to look for targets would be to put our 236 fib all the way from these highs to this lows and see where that comes in. It's almost at the same level. So that's confluence. That says, okay, yeah, that's level. It's going to be major resistance. And that gives us 27,233. So if we can break above these daily moving averages and outside of this 4-hour range, we're going to look for 27,233 next. And then above 27,233, we can talk about a trend change in Link Bitcoin and higher prices, and potentially this correction being over. But if we can't, I think we may have a little bit further, not too much further, but a little bit further to fall first. Okay, that's Link. Zen. So I love that one. I can't wait to buy it. I'm just not quite buying it yet. Now Zen. Oh, here's a good example, unfortunately, of that 50% rule. So this is the most recent high to low swing here in Zen. When we mark our fib levels from this high to low, we can see that we had a really strong reaction at the 236 fib. We had a triple top, quite a nasty twice fallback here. When we got to the 38.2, it was quite messy, as they are, and we had quite a nasty pullback, and we kind of got to the 50%, and it's been pretty messy, but we've reversed here too. The nasty thing about that, again, is remember 50% mean reverting markets tend to keep reverting to mean, so that would be 50% back on the downside. So we're looking for this low here and 83.90. So horizon US dollar, I'm looking for support at 83.90, and we're probably going to do it in three waves. So we've had one, so we might well see a bounce, don't get sucked in, and then we'll look for another leg lower. So 83.90 is where I think Zen should find support, and that's also where our daily 50 moving average is, because we've dropped under the 20 today as well. So bearish reversal, Zen against Bitcoin. You're better off in Bitcoin. There you go. Not better news for this one, but you know, it's had a really nice go. That's where our support is, 8390, and I would wait for that. Mana is next. I'm sorry, I will put BQX on. I know I was messaged to ask for this. So here we go. Okay, Mana Decentraland. Now, is it outperforming Bitcoin? Hell yes it is. There's a little bit of a problem here in this. I'm going to put regular candles on. we've got a little bit of a support and resistance level that we seem to be stuck at, and it's from way back here. It's a bit of a funky level. My dog's having a very noisy drink, so it's not me, don't worry. So there's our level. Look, highs, that we're kind of paused at. I think that this just means, you know, because we've clearly reversed the trend, we're trading solidly above the 200 moving average. I'm just going to take that away. We're trading solidly above the 200 moving average. Our 20 and our 50 have crossed. This is all bullish. We should find support on a pullback here after 5 waves up. So let's look and see where this second swing lower might come back to. Either here at 454 or potentially 400 back down to here if we do an equal measured move. So still in a correction, I'm afraid, for mana. Bitcoin's ruling. If we look here, ABC up, this was an equal measured move. That's always a warning that, see how that's, it's not exactly equal, but it's, you know, we've reversed from it. As soon as you reverse and you go below the 236 fib, which we did here, then you know you've got a reversal on your hands, and so that's why we're looking for A, B, C here. And if we did that equal measured move, we would probably meet up with this 4-hour 200 moving average or something like that. So I would be protecting my profits if I was long on mana. I would probably pop back into Bitcoin. Why not? I think this has got another swing lower. If we look at mana US dollar, it should be looking very good. Yeah, here we go. Look how we're holding above the 200 moving average. This shouldn't come back too much in US dollar terms, you know, but again, just quite a tricky, there's that tricky level that we're stuck at. Where does it come from? Don't know, but it is a tricky level. This starts from this low here, I think. So let's see if there's a fib that lines up with it that helps us. Not really. This is quite cool though. If you see this 236 fib, how this was actually quite an important support and resistance. If you are long mana, you see the mana Bitcoin chart just tells us that Bitcoin's going to do better than mana for a bit. But it doesn't mean it's going to go down against the US dollar. And this is a huge support and resistance, this 236 fib. So if I was holding some mana, I probably wouldn't get out unless we dropped underneath this support level, 0.033996. And in fact, I'd watch for this to hold here on a pullback and not below there. So, you know, no reason to get out in mana US dollar. But I do think for a little bit that Bitcoin will outperform. Okay, and Atom, and then BQX, so Atom. What a nice ride we have had in Atom. Sometimes at fib levels, you get really nice reactions. So in Atom, this is at Binance chart, when I draw them from this high to low, you can see the 236 fib, really nice reaction, 38.2, really nice reaction, 50%, and it's gone mad, washing back and forward in a sideways range. So what we've got here is a sideways range. This is the support, this previous low, daily 50, we're right on the support now. So we've got double top and double bottom, hopefully. It does look like we're bouncing off it. And if we're going to turn it around, this is where I'd be looking for us to do it from. Move it a little bit higher. So lots of reasons to think we should find support here in Atom. From this, the best ones usually line up with an ABC. This says, oh gosh, we might do one more little push lower to 5282. That would make sense. So 5282 is where the support is. A little bit lower in Atom, and then I would see if we can rally from there and hold this daily 50. 5282 then, support. In a messy messy move at this 50%. Maybe we're looking at the fibs wrong and we should just look at this swing. That would make more sense. Look, 236 fib worked, 38.2 was messy, 50 wasn't, and this 61.8, which means that the 50% here would be support. That's 5179. So 5282, 5179, round there, we really should find some support to rally from. And then below there, I think a bigger correction underway in Cosmos. So, you know, is this a new downtrend? It's not. Look, when you have choppy overlapping waves going sideways, it's not a trend, it's consolidation or correction. Feel better soon, Alex Limpkin. Okay, so we've got some requests. I'm just going to do BQX first, because I did promise someone that in a private message and I didn't add it to the list. My mistake. Okay. Let's hope it's here. Voyager. Okay. There is lots to like about this Voyager chart before everyone gets too depressed. I'm going to take these fibs away, and if we look, you can see that, you know, all the way down in this most recent sequence, these moving averages have been resistance. For the first time on massive volume, we've gotten above these moving averages and have found some support from them. And this is a good lesson about, you know, when you look at Ripple, what to expect after you see a big up move. You want to see some really nice sideways consolidation that doesn't come back too fast. So, for example, this is a big green Maribosu candle. A bearish reversal in Japanese candlesticks would be dropping below the 50% of this open close at 316. So 316. I'm just going to mark it. It's amazing how this trick works. 316 is our support. Let me make that line the 316. So you can see I'm not making this up. 316. And we're holding above it, like pretty nicely. So it works. So nice pullback. Let's see if we can make a base. Now we've got a little hourly sideways range going on, so we can get a bit of an early warning. When you've got a sideways range, you can buy the low, sell the high. Look at this volume. So a break back above 385, which suggests that this is going higher. That should be at least 50% of this. It is. Yeah. So just waiting for this one to turn higher and give us another leg higher. I'm going to go up to a 4-hour chart. Okay. So we can't until we turn higher measure it, but if we measure this first leg and look for the next swing higher to begin, then you can project 430 would be 61.8 if we bottomed here, and then 541. So yeah, we should see at least another leg higher. Now let's go back to the daily. We'll put our fibs on the most recent kind of big swing lower. So let's say that looks like from here, doesn't it? This is the last big swing lower. So our first major resistance and target is going to be 527 and these previous highs. That's where the 236 fib is. And then the 200 moving average is at these lows, and this 38.2 fib at 709. So 527 first target, and then definitely the 200 moving average at 709, looking good. Okay, next one, basic attention token, another one of my favorites. Ooh. So let's take the fibs away from this in a minute. Very often when you get stuck in between the moving averages, especially the 20 and 50, you'll tend to go, and especially when they're flat, you'll tend to go sideways in a kind of consolidation pattern, and that's what we're doing, and the moving averages become your support. So we've been in this sideways range now 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 days. So here's our little short-term 9-day sideways range. Here's the lows, here's the highs. What I kind of like about this, though, is I think that this, if we is potentially a bigger head and shoulders pattern here, and that's the neckline. Look, left shoulder, head, and hopefully if we can hold these lows, that we might come a little bit lower. A right shoulder. Why might we come a little lower? We might break down and test this 200, and then it would actually look a little bit more balanced, wouldn't it? So don't, if we break the bottom of the range, don't get too scaredy. Only below this 200 moving average would I be really worried, and I would just wait and see. So if we're going to buy it, we need to break above this little short range, or today's high, that would be back above the 50, or we need to wait for a bigger pullback down here towards 2370, 2360. What does the hourly tell us? Anything? No. Just the same sideways range. So if you're looking at this on the hourly, if we break down, we're looking for, remember, down here around 2370. If we break higher from this sideways range, we're going back to the top and the neckline. So you could maybe buy it a little bit early before we get there and see. So basic attention token against Bitcoin, that's what I would want to see it to buy it. Otherwise, I think you're better off in Bitcoin, because it's not really outperforming, is it? It doesn't mean it won't go up against the dollar. In fact, it probably is. So there, let's see. There's lots to like for this to be a low. If I take this away and hide these moving averages, you know, this does look like we've made an ABC correction. We didn't quite get to the equal measured move, but that 200 moving average caught us. If we put fibs on, where was that? Back to, yeah, 61.8. Now it makes more sense. Look, because remember, from this low to this high, we're in that 618, 38.2 kind of golden ratio zone. Okay. Here we are. One thing about that, if you drop down below it, the next one will be that 786. I don't think we will, but there we are, stuck in this sideways range with the 50% level in the middle acting as pivot support, 2502. So looks set to go higher. Above 2725 would be perfect, and a break of an inverted head and shoulders neckline. Watch out that we don't squeak a little bit lower first. Okay, TRX and EOS. So I have closed. No, I didn't close TRX. Let's see. Okay, let's start with TRX US dollar. Get rid of these horrible red fibs. I think we're trying to make a higher low. It's a lot like a lot of coins where the 50 moving average is capping us and we can't get above it. When we tried to rally here on the 23rd of December, the 50 moving average capped us, and today it's capped us again. If we look at this downswing, this was resistance here, it was support for a little bit, it's a troublesome. So that's really what we've got to get above. We've also got a bit of a horizontal level here. If we look where the high was before we made the last swing lower, that's the high that we have to get above to reverse the downtrend. Remember, lower highs, lower lows. And so when we take that level out here, 14,830, then we've reversed the downtrend. So it's a little bit sideways. It looks good. It's got lots of potential. But I would say, let's see it make a big move first, and then we'll buy a pullback. If you love TRX, then, you know, I don't think you'll get in too much trouble buying some. I do think it wants to go higher. The question is it going to outperform Bitcoin? I'm just going to pop a fib on and see. Okay, so fib rules. We've reversed at an 886 fib. Okay, so we've reversed at an 886 fib. If we can close above the 786 fib here, our target is the 50% next, 17,299. So yeah, it looks good. So the key thing now we've got to ask ourselves is look at TRX against Bitcoin, because if it's not outperforming, you might as well stay in Bitcoin. And it's trying to, isn't it? It is trying to bounce from here. But just like the TRX US dollar chart that we just looked at, sideways range, and has been since, you know, before Christmas. So let's take that away and do it this way. Frustrating. Okay, so from this high to this low, we're gonna call the, say that if we get above the 236 fib and this low and high, we've cracked it. So 193 TRX Bitcoin. Then I think it's a good look to go higher. Hello, Eggy. Yeah, I'll do theta again at the end. EOS and waves. Okay, EOS. It's another dog drinking. Sorry about that. That's the big dog. I think EOS is a lovely long entry right now today, okay? There's lots to like about this. I'm going to take this away. Let's just take this most recent swing lower. You know, we're above the daily. I'm not going to use that one. I'm going to take a bigger one. Okay, let's use some simple rules. If we get above this high, we've broken the downtrend, haven't we? That's our last high before the last swing lower. We're above the daily 50 moving average. Flat moving averages though, so we have to break out of our sideways range. So this is the high that we're going to have to do. If I put fibs on, let's see where we're going to go. Good grief, I don't know. It's quite a massive first target, but oh look, no, that's going to be... Okay, so if we break out of this sideways range, our target's going to be the 200-day moving average, this big 236 fib from the highs, and look how it's also a big support and resistance level. That adds a lot of weight to this level for our target. So 3.6965 if we make a new high here. So this previous high is just one of those levels where very often you'll see profit taking, you know, when we get there. So I think it's important that we clear it. Otherwise, yeah, it looks good. Now on the hourly, see how we're trending very nicely in each pullback, we turn higher. Yeah, I think there's lots to like about EOS against US dollar. So now the only question becomes, are we going to make a new high and do that thing? And are we outperforming Bitcoin? Because if we're not outperforming Bitcoin, once again, you may as well be in Bitcoin. And when we look at our daily chart here, we're massively outperforming Bitcoin. All is well. No worries here. Look at these daily moving averages though. This is dead flat. This says sideways range. So top of the range, bottom of the range. So we know where our first resistance is going to be the 200 moving average here, around 3875, and then this double top level up here at around 4100. So looking strong in EOS. Yes, you should buy it. What I do like about this, I thought here, you know, what if this was just like an ABC and it's over? If we're not and it's, you know, we're going to get stuck, then the 50% from this high to low might be trouble. We've just gone through that today, so I think it's looking quite good. In fact, I don't think we even paused at it. Did we? Oh yeah, we did pause at it. That's quite good. So if I was long, I would, each time we have this consolidation and breakout, I'd move my stop up. Okay, we shouldn't really come back now below 3711. So I'd put my stop under here. If I was looking for somewhere to pull back to buy, I would look for a pullback towards 3711. Okay, stop underneath. That's the level if I wanted to buy EOS Bitcoin. So yeah, EOS Bitcoin in a sideways range, but looking all set to go back to the top of the range. Oh, thanks for all the love. Do you know, sometimes I get such bad stage fright that I honestly think I can't do it. And everybody thinks, oh, Nikki's so confident, you know, why would she worry? And sometimes I really can't. I like, oh my God. Anyway, that's just my issues. Here we go. Let's look at some Waves to cheer ourselves up. Waves, where are you? I can never remember that one. Here we go. Waves. Now, this is a daily chart of Waves Bitcoin. It stopped short of where I thought it was going to get to. I really did think that we were going to get to this 236 fib level, and we didn't. It's a bit annoying. So now here we are in a situation where we're coming all the way back. I do think if we go down to 4 hour and I look under the hood here, I was really kind of hoping this was 5 waves, but it's all a bit messy. So let's just say that these lows here hopefully will be support, and it lines up with the 4 hour 200 moving average, which is the daily 50, or you should know, not the daily 50 in this case, but this previous swing low is where the support is. 1,099 or 1,100. Okay. Thanks, guys. Okay, so here we are. Let's see if a fib gives us some support. All I'm really, you know, I used to struggle when I first traded. I would always be chasing. I felt like I was always chasing the moves and FOMO, and I would be getting in late and so on. And once I learnt a strategy where I was buying pullbacks all the time, so it had to prove itself to me, I became so much more profitable. So if all you ever learn is to just buy pullbacks, that would be great. Now, this previous low and is the 50%, 1120. And as Connor just said, it might come back to the 61.8 here and the weekly 20. So if we put our 61.8, because corrections are very often between the 50 and the 61.8. So somewhere between 1120 and 1020 is where I would think Waves Bitcoin finds support. And Connor is right. There's our daily 50 moving average down there. So let it come back, let it do its thing, and let's wait and see for it to find support somewhere in this zone. So it's got a little bit further to fall before we get there, I'm afraid. Okay. So there we go. It's Monday. I hope this helps. We'll probably post some flash charts. Now, it's easy to get very excited when the market's moving high, especially when we've had big move days like today in, you know, some of these charts like Ripple and the Monero and Bitcoin Cash. Okay, after the Bitcoin, what do I project? Well, I'd really like this higher level to hold. I'd really like us to hold above this 200 moving average, because let's go to Waves Bitcoin weekly chart. Let's get rid of some of this noise. Okay, because, you know, when you get above a weekly 20 moving average, which was what we're trying to do here, you really should be looking for the weekly 50 next. And that's at the 236 of this big swing as well. Normally I would say with a big ABC, which is what I think it is, that you should actually put the fibs on both swings of the ABC. So, you know, the upside potential for this is very big. A 3061 would be my first look if we can hold support here and turn higher. Yeah, definitely. Now, go back and let's do the most recent big move lower, which is this swing here, isn't it? High to low. If it's not obvious, it's not the swing. And so potentially there is a bit of a level here. Look, support, resistance, and 16, 11. So I would say I'd feel much more comfortable when we're above there. And then, yeah, I would definitely be looking for 3,060. Not in a straight line, and this double bottom here might cause us a bit of an issue on the way and a bit of a knockback. That's at 2370. But yeah, you know, whenever you hold above a daily 20 moving average, you've got lots of sky above you. Okay, now theta. I had a quick look at theta. Let's do theta's up 7% since last night. That's crypto, isn't it? Do you know, most honestly, if oil rallied 7% in one day, it would be all over the news. But theta went up 7% since last night. Let's take a look. Theta. There we go. Theta US dollar is climbing this fib staircase really nicely. So I've drawn it from this high on the 19th of December. This is an hourly chart to this low on the 3rd of January. Okay, each of these levels, so the 61.8 came back to the 50. Now we're at new highs. So we should be looking for this 786 next. And look, there's a bit of a level there too. So 0.10635 in theta US dollar is our next upside target. If we look at theta Bitcoin, and so on, we're just going to climb the staircase till we get new highs. And in this one, let's compare apples and apples. We'll put our fibs on this way. So last night, look, we paused at the 50% in theta Bitcoin. Should hold it as support now. 1353, looking for 1402, and we'll keep climbing up the staircase that way, if you like. I'll put the 38.2 in. Let's see how it was support there. Pretty nice. Resistance, support, and so on. Okay, good. Yeah, good luck on BQX. And so, yeah, then we'll put the 786 in, and so on. One of the nice things, you know, if you're trading on an hourly like this, you know, each time you hit a level, you take it off, you wait for it to come back, you buy it back. But if you can get a bit of a swing on, or you get under, you know, and ride it out, then, and that's when the big profits come. I really like a 4-hour charts for longer term entries, I have to say. Okay, Min, thank you so much. You're such a darling. I feel like I've known you forever, Min. Okay, so good luck in BQX, good luck in Bitcoin, good luck in all these alts like ETH and Litecoin and Ripple that are outperforming Bitcoin. Maybe diversify a little, but don't go crazy, and good luck, everybody. Okay, see you all next Monday or on Twitter. Okay, or, yeah, looking good, isn't it? Good luck. Buy pullbacks. Take some profit. You'll be fine. Bye, everyone.